Over. Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I'm Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been here before, glad to see you. If you're new to the channel, I am a tarot and oracle reader intuitive. I'm also an initiated priestess in pagan and African traditions, and I'm a former newspaper journalist. So my approach to readings is pretty grounded, I like to think. And let's get into it. I do mostly political readings. If you're not familiar with me, I do political readings probably 2 to 3 times a week. But I also do spiritual and personal growth readings relating to the new moon and full moon twice a month with the pick a card readings. They're very popular. Love to do them, and I will continue to do so. For today, we're going to keep this short and sweet. Try to. But I want to take a look at, I'm getting the impression, you all, that Nancy Pelosi has overstayed her welcome. And there is some tension developing between she and Hakeem Jeffries, who has been, up until now, extremely respectful with Nancy, has really played his cards very smart and is highly regarded. We certainly know he saved oh boy Johnson's butt a couple of times in last year or earlier this year. So let's see what continues to happen. Sadly, unless something changes, we still got 2 months if he becomes speaker. But in the event that he does not, and this crazy train continues, he is still going to be quite a force to be reckoned with. That said, this continued interference, let's call it that, with Nancy Pelosi is, I think, reaching a peak, and there's going to be something like she's going to get checked, and we know she's not going to want that or even understand or be prepared, I think, for the level of backlash that's coming her way from Democrats in the House. But let's take a look. I want to see Hakeem Jeffries' spirit. The relationship between Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi. Is it fractured? Will Nancy Pelosi get the hint that it is final? It's time for her to chill. Like, she's got to chill out. There are new voices that need to be heard, and she's really becoming more of a distraction and interference. This whole pointing fingers thing that's happening within the Democratic Party. So we have the Hierophant that comes at the bottom of the deck. I like that. I think Spirit, sorry about that light. I think Spirit is coming out saying right off the bat, Hierophant, for those of you not too familiar with tarot, it is a card of the master teacher. It represents establishment. It represents tradition. In this context, very often in faith related stuff, but in this context in politics, this is her persona, the person who's been this mover and shaker for so long. I want to see the relationship between Pelosi and there's temperance. It's changing. Notice these major arcana are coming out, which is, this is serious energy, you all. When we get the majors, Spirit is saying, look alive, because this is heavy. This is momentous. There is a shift. Temperance is alchemy. It is where things need to change for the better. It's where I see your point, but I need you to see mine. And I think Hakeem Jeffries, and again, in all due respect to her, 9 of Wands, recognizing that he needs to be given leverage, more leverage from her, from Pelosi, to clear the way and do his job. There's a lot to be done. 9 of Wands is a card of juggling and having so much ahead of you. And he's having to look at this as, if in fact things stay the way they are, hate saying that, but if in fact Mike Johnson stays as the speaker, and he's got Jeffries needs that leverage to utilize all the power that he can in his position. He does not need this interference from her. Spirit, have they had a conversation, or is Hakeem Jeffries going to confront, or is there something going on behind the scenes where they've had conversations, he and Pelosi, about who needs to do what? 4 of Swords. That feels more like it's in the planning stages. Like he's still, she did that and I blame the New York Times for this. They gave her that platform. She had this huge article that came out recently where she started playing the blame game. You know, if Biden had only left earlier, dot, 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 dot. Like, nobody's hearing that right now. Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries. Page of Wands, right. New energy is needed, and it has to be injected with the Two of Wands. Perfect. This is the message that she's going to get. If she hasn't gotten it already, this is the message that she's going to get. And I think Spirit is saying it's not just going to be relayed by Hakeem Jeffries himself. It's going to be relayed by many within the party, both those who are in the house and those who are just in those circles that she knows and who know her. She's going to be given the word, you know, Nancy, you're overstaying your welcome. And it's time for you to really pull it back. Because at this point, Hakeem Jeffries has more than enough experience under his belt. He knows what he's doing. He knows what the agenda is. And to the extent that there is, Spirit is saying, to the extent that there is some adaptation of messaging of where the party is, what it needs to do going forward, that he is more than capable of being at the helm of that movement. Okay, so yeah, she's in trouble. I want to just pull a couple of more. Ten of Cups. And they're saying go home and be with your family. And Ten of Pentacles. Exactly. Enough. Tens are a form of completion within the minor arcana, right? We have the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. I think at the end of the day, we're going to see her voice being eclipsed. It's time for that. It's time for new leadership. And although she is having some trouble adapting to that, yeah, she's going to have to come to reality with that real soon. And I think over time, we're going to see less and less of her, and the media is going to play its role as well in terms of backing away, because to a certain extent it could be said it's kind of disrespectful. Like, why is she even being given all of this room, all of this air, all of this space, when you have someone else who is really in place to have to do that job, right? To have to carry that agenda forward in the house, and that would be Hakeem Jeffries. Now, second part of this reading is the squad. Or what was formerly known as the squad. We know that during this election cycle, the squad lost a couple of members, right? Jamal Bowman was one of them. Cori Bush was another, right? There was some, and then there was all this talk about, squad's in trouble. It's going to just be, decimated. Not so, Spirit is saying. Remember, you've got who is becoming increasingly a force to be reckoned with and will not let up anytime soon, Jasmine Crockett out of Texas. We have AOC Cortez coming out. Now, she's making some interesting adjustments. There was a lot, I don't know if you saw this, there was a lot happening around her decision to, apparently over the summer, she removed on, I think it was on X, or Instagram, but she removed her pronouns from her bio. And many have said, is AOC becoming, less woke or less progressive, etc. I think she is recognizing that there are some adjustments that she needs to make in terms of her constituency and in terms of her platform moving forward. I don't think it had anything to do, Spirit is saying, like, it didn't have anything to do with her continued understanding of what that meant, of supporting the movement around people's decisions of how to identify. It had nothing to do with her stepping back from that. It was purely a strategic move on her part. And at the end of the day, she is a politician, all right? So we have to keep that in mind. That said, I am getting the sense that Sarah McBride, the trans congressional person out of Delaware, the representative out of Delaware. So Nancy Mace hoops and hollers and spends all of her time, what they said, something like 80 posts that she did on social media about that Sarah McBride cannot use the ladies' bathroom in Congress. And Jasmine Crockett came out and was like, excuse me, There's real work to be done here. Are we really going to spend all our time considering this issue for those who, if you say that you protect women and you stand for their rights? Beautiful, beautiful. That woman's got some fire. So that's happening. I am asking if, in fact, the remaining members of the squad, because squad is still going strong. If you ask me, and what I'm getting from the guides is we still have AOC. We've got Jasmine Crockett. We've got Ilhan Omar out of Minnesota. We've got Ayanna Pressley out of Massachusetts, Rashida Tlaib out of Michigan, Greg Cesar out of Texas, Summer Lee out of Pennsylvania is still there. So they still got some numbers. I'm asking whether the squad is going to embrace Sarah McBride, if she in fact will be. I have the 7 of Wands and the 2 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. I like it. I think they are going to reach out to her. She is going to be, whether she is technically considered a member of the squad or not, that might be something still under consideration. But I do think these progressive members are going to reach out to her and make sure that she is given some form of cushion, is what I'm hearing, in the face of people like Nancy Mace. We know NTG. There's going to be so many who are going to try and make things very uncomfortable for her. But she is walking in with King of Wands energy, you all. Sarah McBride is no joke. I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know a lot about her. I became more familiar with her when we heard about the news of, this breakthrough vote and the fact that she is, making history. So, but she's walking in with some really powerful energy. She's not afraid. She's not going to cower at all. I am asking Spirit, is she going to be embraced by the squad? Are the members of the squad going to reach out and be 100% Queen of Wands? I get a feeling that's our fiery Jasmine Crockett out of Texas, especially. I think that Spirit is showing or saying the rest are going to follow suit. Rashida and AOC and Omar and the rest of them, they're going to follow suit and embrace her because they recognize their strength in numbers at this point. So yes, I think that McBride, Judgment, Pluto, and we know today I'm doing this, Pluto is officially in Aquarius as of now. There's many changes, and she represents, McBride represents a lot of this fundamental shifts that we're going to be seeing in how our politics is approached, and certainly within the Democratic Party, how our politics are approached and what we really stand for, and who it is that we're willing to stand with and protect, so that there won't be this off the chain bullying that they're trying to already get started before she's even in there in the 119th Congress. So yes, Sarah McBride, Spirit, just want to look at her a little bit. Sarah McBride, what's her temperament? What's her state of mind as she's preparing herself for this? Knight of Wands. I love this. She's definitely that king that we saw, because it's followed up. Since I had already pulled this, it's coming up with the knight right behind it. Sarah McBride is going to be somebody to watch, you all. She's walking in with a lot of fire, a lot of conviction, a lot of willingness to work toward establishing her principles and representing her constituency. She understands the assignment, is what they just said. So yes, I think she's going to be a member of the squad. I just pulled the Lovers. I think they're going to bring her in. Whether she is labeled as a member of the squad, we'll see what happens. But functionally, she's going to become a part of the squad. Now, I also want to see if, talking about Hakeem Jeffries, that he is definitely like Nancy enough already, right? But I want to see if he is going to become more reliant on his connections with the squad in this progressive camp, because again, he is going to need a lot of rallying around him. You know, he's up against it, and he has the temperament, he has the know-how, he has so much going for him. He will handle his business, Spirit is saying. At the same time, he needs the support of those who are ready to rally around him. Spirit, are we going to see more connection, more togetherness and planning between Hakeem Jeffries and the members of the squad? Hakeem Jeffries, ooh, what just came? That's almost too many, but I don't want to ignore it because I got 3 major arcana that came. So I got the Magician, the Empress, and Judgment, and they came with the 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is about getting that work done, rolling up the sleeves and getting that work done. So the fact that it fell out with those 3 majors, powerful majors, yes, I think that is a very solid yes from Spirit. Look for Hakeem Jeffries to make some slight shifts in his approach. Remember, he as a former protege of Nancy Pelosi, he was learning how to operate politically through that old school way. But here with that 8 of Pentacles, Hakeem Jeffries is going to be looking at, here's where my support is, here's where my real friends are, and I think we're going to see some interesting dynamics start to develop between Jeffries and some of the more progressive members of Congress, okay? It's going to be some exciting times, you all, even in the midst of all of this other stuff that we're dealing with. Let's hang in there, continue to be respectful of one another. I want to personally thank you all for the support you've continued to give me. It's a tough time, and I can take a lot of that. I welcome disagreement. I welcome other points of view as long as they are respectful. But there have been those who are accusing me and other readers, you're just telling people what they want to hear, or, you're just this, that, or the other. And it's like, trust me, in this work, and anybody who's reputable, and there are many reputable people on this platform, who we take this seriously. I answer to the divine, and the work that I'm doing is truly in service to that, and in service to the community. So whether or not I'm always right, whether, I'm also human and I'm fallible, but I know that I get on here every time I hit that record button. I'm coming with what I feel is authentic, and what I feel I'm being directed to speak on, and the way that I'm about to or supposed to say it, right? So it's all good. I just ask that we continue to be respectful to one another, be tolerant toward one another, and understand that this is a community. We are stronger together. All right? All right, you all be good. Have a great midweek. And I will check in with you all again a little bit later in the week. Take good care of yourselves. Remember to breathe. Keep those chins up, right? We got to do it. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.